Hello, and welcome to another episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup, the show where we come together and talk about the biggest stories in the past week as far as geek shit is concerned, primarily focused on movies. We'll also talk about TV shows and video games if something really big happens that I particularly care about, but mainly focused on movies. So let's get into it. First off, we have Mission Impossible 7 production being halted due to a positive COVID test. Now, some people might look at this as like a really negative story, and obviously, yes, it is bad when somebody gets COVID, and second to that, it's bad when a movie production is halted. But I think this also just kind of shows that the systems that are in place in order to check for COVID work. And, some guy got COVID and they were able to catch it quickly and shut down the set and keep everybody safe. And, I think that's sort of the good outlook that you can have on a situation like this. But, yeah, it's being paused for 14 days. I don't think it's going to, or at least I hope that it's not going to be too big of a deal and they're able to sort of make up for lost time whenever they get back to shooting. Really want to watch this movie. The Mission Impossible franchise is awesome, and I enjoy watching Tom Cruise, who is a lunatic, do dangerous things. So second up, we have Issac Rae. She is going to be voicing Spider-Woman in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2, whatever the official name of it is. And it's cool. I haven't really seen anything that she's in, or at least I don't remember anything that she's been in, but yeah, she's going to be voicing Spider-Woman. And I don't know if it's been confirmed that Spider-Woman is going to be in Into the Spider-Verse 2, but now it is. It's confirmed. Breaking it here on Useless Nobody. Spider-Woman is going to be in Into the Spider-Verse 2. So, yeah, cool. Casting announcement. Whatever. Next up. A Quiet Place spinoff has been confirmed, and reading from Deadline, Paramount has just put an untitled A Quiet Place movie on the calendar for March 31st, 2023. This is one that Jeff Nichols is writing and directing, and which Deadline first told you about. It's not a threequel, but rather based on an idea from John Krasinski. The pick is very early in development and simply being billed as the next installment, broadening the post-apocalyptic world introduced in the first two movies. So, yeah, this is a date that's being set. It was we already knew about this, but this is now this movie has a date. And but yeah, I think this movie is very interesting because A Quiet Place is obviously kind of a new surprise success in the horror genre, and because everything has to be a cinematic universe, they're now doing a spin-off movie. This is not A Quiet Place 3, this is a spin-off film. And it's not being directed by John Krasinski. So, yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen A Quiet Place 2 yet, but I really like the first one. So, I think it's kind of cool that they're sort of expanding the world of A Quiet Place. Next up, what's his name? Andy Muschietti. Yes, he teases the Flash movie with a bloody Batman picture. Now, what's intriguing about this is that it is the Michael Keaton Batman suit, and it has blood on it. What that means, I'm not entirely sure. People are kind of wondering if it's gonna be like the scene in the comics where I forget. I don't remember where it's like what specific storyline it is, but there is a scene where Reverse Flash, or I don't know if it's Reverse Flash or Professor Zoom or whatever Flash speedster villain it is, but where he basically beats up Batman, and it's a really great fight that people are wondering if maybe is going to be in this movie. I think it would be kind of sad if we saw old Michael Keaton just getting beaten almost to death, but yeah, it's a tease for the new Flash movie, and basically actual like tangible confirmation that yes, Michael Keaton will be back, and it will be the Michael Keaton Batman, or at least it'll have a suit that looks like the Michael Keaton bat suit. So yeah, that's kind of cool. And speaking of Michael Keaton Batman, I have a fun little story here from Danny Elfman. Now, this isn't really an important story, but I thought it was fun and I wanted to talk about it. So he was a guest on Mark Maron's podcast where he basically talked about how he came up, or like he thought of the Batman theme from 1989 Batman, and he came up with it on a plane. He said on the podcast, "That hit me at the worst possible time. On the way home, the thing fucking hits me, and it was like, what do? I'm on a 747. How do I do this? I'm gonna forget it all. I'm gonna land, and they're gonna play some fucking Beatles song, and I'm gonna forget everything." So basically, he was on a plane, and he had like a recorder with him, and he ran to the bathroom because he didn't want to like play the song on his recorder next to his passenger in his seat. So he would like constantly run to the bathroom back to his seat, sort of playing the song and trying to get it like solidified. And he was basically freaking out flight attendants while he was doing that. So I mean, I totally respect that as a musician. Like, when you come up with something, or really any sort of like creative field, it's like when you come up with something, you want to make sure you write it down, or you get to work on it immediately, or else they're gonna like forget what you wanted to do. So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting and a funny little story about one of the most iconic themes of all time. And next up, we have Elizabeth Olsen basically confirming that there's probably not going to be another season of WandaVision. So she was on one of those like actors on actors like interviews that Variety likes to do, and she was being interviewed and interviewing Kaylee Cuoco. It's really more of a conversation than an interview, but during that interview, Kaylee Cuoco asked her about a WandaVision season 2, and she said like very like definitively, she was like, "It's definitely a limited series." And then she kind of realized that, she shouldn't be confirming it. So she kind of like backtracks a bit and says, "I mean, I'm saying that, I don't know. I mean, with Marvel, you can never say no." But then she says, "I would be shocked." So what that tells me, and you can go watch the interview for yourself if you want. But when I was watching her say it basically came off as like, there are no current plans to do a WandaVision season 2. It is very much a limited series, and even when you watch WandaVision, there's really no way to do a second season unless you go in like a completely different direction with it. So like there's no way to do a WandaVision season 2 where you're doing more sitcom stuff. It's just not really feasible. But we basically get confirmation here that they're not really planning on one. And also Kevin Feige, he's not one of these guys who will who's like reactionary, like DC very much is, where if something is like a huge success or like a massive failure, they'll go, "Okay, we need to do more of this," or "Oh no, okay, we can't do that. We can't be dark and gritty anymore," like we saw DC do. Kevin Feige's not like that. He has his plan and he tends to stick to it. So yeah, I would be very surprised as well if we got a WandaVision season 2 at some point. Okay, so next up, we have our first look at Soldier Boy. So this is one of the new characters in The Boys season 3, and we got our first look at him. I think he looks cool. Basically, from what I understand, he is a Captain America ripoff, and I think he's the original superhero in the Boys universe, where he was the first person to be tested with Compound V, which is, interesting. What I'm confused about this character is if he's going to be brought into the modern day, if he's kind of been around all this time, or if he's only going to be in flashbacks. Because they've talked about him as being like a pretty integral part of the season. So I'm just not sure if it's going to be only in flashbacks or if he's like Captain America where he's in the modern day as well. Like I don't know if they'd go so far as to have this guy be in ice as well, or if maybe he just doesn't age quickly or at a normal rate. But yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. I'll be honest, I'm not really one of those guys who gets like super worked up like positively or negatively based on suits. Like generally speaking, I think superhero suits are fine. Like I don't know. I think it looks cool. So next up we have another suit reveal. Batwing. So this is a character from the Batwoman TV show. I'll be honest, I don't watch the Batwoman show. I kind of fell off the CW DC stuff. I've come back for Superman and Lois because I've always wanted to get back into it, but when you stop watching the shows for like a couple years, like I have, the idea of going back and catching up on everything is way too much. So I decided, okay, screw it. I'm just jumping into Superman and Lois, and I've been loving it. But sadly, I haven't gone back and watched like Batwoman and stuff. So, but this is the first live action appearance of the Batwing character, so I figured I should cover it. I think this suit looks cool. From what I understand, this is Lucas Fox's son. What did I say? Lucas Fox? What's his name? I forget who like Batman's engineer guy is, but his son basically has like, from what I understand from like the animated movies that I've seen him in, he basically has like an Iron Man suit. Like I don't think he's like as well trained as like Batman or like his Batman sidekicks. I think his main thing is that he's like a genius, so he basically has almost a Batman Iron Man suit. So I don't know, looks cool. I'm sure if you've been watching Batwoman, this probably excites you. Next up, we have our first little teaser for Super DC League of Super Pets, which is a new animated movie that's coming out. I'm not really sure how to feel about this movie because I'm not sure if this is going to be like an Into the Spider-Verse type of movie, or where it's really well written and incredibly compelling, or if it's going to be like a DreamWorks Illumination type thing. The fact that we have Crypto the Super Dog here, kind of like giving you like, I can't even really do it, but like the DreamWorks like grin with the with the eyebrow raise does not give me hope. But and by the way, this isn't even really that much of a teaser trailer because all we see is Crypto like flying, and then we get the cast list, which is a pretty impressive cast. We have Kevin Hart, who is confirmed to be playing Ace the Bat Hound. And then on top of that, we have Keanu Reeves, Kate McKinnon, Vanessa Bayer, John Krasinski, and more. So it's a good cast, but I'll be honest, I don't get too excited about like famous people voicing things in animated projects. Like, like I'm sorry, okay, you got Liam Neeson to be in in The Secret Life of Pets. I don't care. Like I don't I don't know. It's like a famous person voicing a film isn't gonna make the movie any better. So I don't know. I need to wait and see like an actual trailer before I can be too positive or negative on this movie. But as of right now, we'll have to wait and see. So next up, Loki episode 1. It premiered this week. And I have my little review of it up, so you can go watch that on the channel. But just to give some quick thoughts here, I enjoyed it. I've been really impressed by the Disney Plus series thus far, and Loki continues to continue the trend of just being incredibly different and unique, and also like incredibly personal, and giving you a better look at these side characters that we've seen in the MCU. And this show is kind of more like WandaVision in the sense that it is incredibly weird and kind of confusing. And it's not like WandaVision in the sense that you have no idea what's going on, but they're in the same way that WandaVision has that sort of air of mystery and intrigue. No spoilers, but you kind of there is a mystery element to this thing. I think I remember Kevin Feige described it as I think he described it as a crime thriller, and by the end of the episode, you definitely see what he's talking about. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's another MCU Disney Plus show. These shows are coming out at a rapid pace. Like, I didn't even realize this thing was coming out until a few days before it aired, and somebody told me, and I was like, whoa, Loki's coming out, really? But yeah, it's out. It's good. Go watch it, I guess, if you want, or don't. I'm not your dad. Next up, the Book of Boba Fett, or not just the Book of Boba Fett, but we have some news about like Star Wars TV show related things. Reading from Collider, upcoming spin-off series The Book of Boba Fett has officially wrapped filming and is on schedule for a December premiere on Disney Plus, as was previously confirmed. The Book of Boba Fett will be a more closely linked spin-off as well, and sources have told us to think of the series as The Mandalorian 2.5, with characters from The Mandalorian slated to appear in the series that currently co-stars Ming-Na Wen as Fennec Shand. So that's definitely some new important news, that this is going to be like fairly tied into The Mandalorian, which we didn't really know for a fact that it would be. We know that Ming-Na Wen's character is going to be in Boba Fett, but I guess maybe we can expect some other characters. Like maybe we'll see the guy who, what's his name? Star Wars names, I hate them. The guy who played Apollo Creed, you know who he is. The guy. Maybe we'll see that guy. Maybe I was gonna say maybe we'll see Gina Carano's character, but probably not, because of all of her shenanigans. But yeah, we'll see who from The Mandalorian shows up. Maybe The Mandalorian himself. Who knows? But yeah, and although I will say the fact that they're saying to think of the series as a Mandalorian 2.5, it kind of decreases my excitement a bit, because I kind of wanted this to be its own thing, not just a Mandalorian like spin-off thing. But I don't know. Well, it'll probably be fine. And the article continues to say, however, season 3 of The Mandalorian is not currently heading into production. That's because the LA stages are, for the moment, in use by the upcoming Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi limited series starring Ewan McGregor in his official return to the galaxy. Far, far away since Revenge of the Sith, blah, blah, blah. And the show is set 10 years after the events of that film, and production on the series will reportedly take months. We hear the plan is for The Mandalorian Season 3 to begin filming at the end of this year or in very early 2022. What that means is that the season will not be premiering on Disney Plus until late 2022. So yeah, Mandalorian Season 2 is apparently not going to start production, or Season 3 is not going to start production until anytime soon, kind of giving the Book of Boba Fett and the Obi-Wan show a chance to sort of roll into production. And I guess that's understandable, you know. I think Disney is putting resources into making more of those, like, what are they called? The sets that allow for like screens to have like the in-show environments, so that you're not having to do like a ton of work as far as like green screen or like actual set production. I forget what the thing's called, but it's the Mandalorian technology that they used to make the show. I'm sure they're trying to make more of those studios. I remember there being a story about that, but I guess as of right now, they are kind of having to sort of pick and choose what shows to put in production. But yeah, and the articles does also mention that another reason why this could possibly be the case is because Pedro Pascal is currently about to shoot The Last of Us show for HBO Max, so that could also be an element here. But yeah, interesting stuff. Book of Boba Fett is going to be like pretty intrinsically tied into The Mandalorian, and The Mandalorian Season 3 is not going to be in production anytime soon. Next up, we have a Lord of the Rings anime that is in development, or whatever. So, reading from Collider, The standalone anime feature is set to focus on one of the most legendary figures in Middle-earth history, the ninth king of Rohan, Hammerhand. The film will expand on the story of the fortress that bears King Hammerhand's name, Helm's Deep. The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, will be directed by Kenji Kamiyama, who started as an animator in such classic films as Jinro, The Wolf Brigade, and Akira. Okay, so I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I've never seen The Lord of the Rings. I know. I'm sorry. But the reason why I'm talking about this is because this isn't gonna be like some, whatever, like straight to home video type of deal. This is going to be a theatrical release, which I think is kind of interesting. Like, they're making that Lord of the Rings show on Amazon, which is supposed to be like the most expensive show of all time or whatever. And they're also making a Lord of the Rings theatrically released film, but it's going to be an anime. So I don't know, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, let me know what you think about that. I think that sounds kind of intriguing, and I should probably watch those movies at some point because they're kind of important in cinema circles or whatever. Next story, last story actually. Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones 4. It's actually happening. We finally have set photos of Harrison Ford in the whole getup. It looks like Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. Okay, another confession. I've only ever seen Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. I'm sorry. I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, apologize. I should get to those movies as well as at some point, shouldn't I? But, whatever, I'll get to them at some point. The important thing here is that we have... Oh, wait, no, this is Indy 5. Because Indiana Jones 4 is the crystals. I don't know, whatever, who cares? You know what I mean. This is Harrison Ford. He's old. Who knows what this movie's going to be like? How are they going to handle the action? It's probably going to be a stunt double for the entire time. Maybe they'll do the Captain America the First Avenger thing where they put his head on a younger man's body. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it all depends on how you write the film and how you stage the action. Maybe it'll be a more contemplative film, talking about or exploring Indiana Jones in his older years. Who knows? We'll have to see what they do with it. But it's finally, this movie is happening. They're on set. They're shooting, presumably, or they're about to shoot. So hopefully you're excited about that. If you're an Indiana Jones fan, maybe I'll watch them at some point and will become an Indiana Jones fan. Okay. Whoops, get out of there, Jensen Ackles. That is going to be it for this week's episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup. Some really interesting stories to talk about. Let me know what you think about all of them in the comments down below. And I will see you in the next one next week. Bye.